Have you ever wondered why pros like artists always seem to crouch when taking gunfights?
Not a problem just yet. Another
No way! Oh my God!
But on YouTube, you'll often find guides telling you not to crouch. So what's the deal with the Valorant community's mixed signals on crouching?
I crouched again.
Crouch peeking works, man. People underestimate the crouch peek.
Dude, I don't have crouch binded.
Last player standing.
Hey guys, my name is Konpeki, and in this video, I'm going to settle the debate around crouching from a Radiance perspective. We'll talk about when it's good and when it's bad, and share some drills with you to help improve your crouching ability. Before we dive in, if you're below Radiant and looking to hit your dream rank, my team of Radiant coaches and I can help you with that. We offer a 10-week premium coaching program with a 500 RR rank up guarantee or your money back. That's right, if you don't see results, you don't pay. We have over a dozen Radiant coaches with VCT experience from teams like Ascend, Immortals, Disguised, Genji, Xset, and Giants. So to find out more and to see if we're a good fit, use the link in the description below to book a free strategy call with me or one of my coaches. Hurry, because only 24 spots remain for the next 10-week season. Now, let's get back to the video. Crouching has been a heated discussion since the dawn of Valorant. From YouTube to in-game chit chats, you'll hear the same talking points over and over again. Crouching is bad because you become an easy target, but it can also be good because it helps with your spray. People often have polarized opinions, picking one side or the other. However, crouching boils down to a simple concept. You're making a commitment. Let me explain by going over 3 scenarios when crouching is bad. The first scenario where crouching is bad is when you're too far away from your opponents. If you're 15 meters or closer, you're safe to use crouching in your fights. But if you're further than 15 meters, it's riskier for you to take those duels. This is because the further away you are from a target, the less you move on their screen. This means if you crouch from too far away, you'll become a sitting duck on the enemy screen. If you're not sure about how far 15 meters is, you can use your minimap and ping to see the distance in meters from where you are standing. In this example, it's about the distance from Sabrosa to Arches in mid on Ascent. The second scenario where crouching is bad is when you're scaling with your team on executes or retakes. If you crouch while pushing tighter spaces like A short or market, you could body block your teammates. You could also end up blocking your teammates from swinging with you while retaking B side from spawn if you end up crouching. You can also lag behind your teammates and miss out on trades during executes and retakes if you keep crouching. And lastly, the final scenario when crouching is bad is when you're holding common angles. This is because whenever players normally clear common angles, they'll be using a lot of utility or bodies to push players off of those angles. Skydogs, KO flashes, and even a well-timed wide swing can catch you off guard when you're crouched. For example, let's go to Lotus in B main. If you choose to crouch on the first angle next to the barrier, those dogs, flashes, or enemies could make you a sitting duck. This is usually the case at any barrier angle on most maps. However, there are some exceptions. Exceptions to this would include when you are opping and you have a teammate that is able to help break utility or support you with utility against rushes. Another example can be if you have a judge and you're playing a 50-50 angle with similar support. So unless you're using an op or a judge with the help of your teammates, avoid crouching while you're holding common angle. Now that we've discussed some scenarios where crouching can be bad, let's explore when it's actually beneficial to crouch. Let's go over 3 scenarios where crouching can be advantageous. The first scenario is during one-on-one engagements. As long as you're not crouching in long-range fights, crouching in a close 1v1 gunfight can disrupt your opponent's crosshair placement. Our earlier clip of Artist is a great example. He effectively reduced the risk of each engagement by crouching in guaranteed 1v1s. The jet updraft allowed him to take an isolated duel, and his crouch during the swing on dice threw off the enemy's aim. And finally, his crouch swing onto the player at generator made his head model too small to hit. This Masters superstar demonstrated how to secure isolated 1v1s with crouching. So how was Artist's final peak so effective? This brings us to our second scenario where crouching is beneficial, which is when you're peeking enemies. Crouch peeking is an underrated tool in your arsenal. It's not limited by weapons or agents, but by the number of players you're facing. As mentioned earlier, crouching is a commitment. If you decide to jump and crouch peek against 1 or 2 opponents, you can isolate 1v1s or escape using your abilities. Agents like Jett, Reyna, and Chamber excel at this. Jett's dash and preference for the operator give her more leeway for risky peeks. However, even without an escape tool, crouch peeking can still be highly effective. In this example, TenZ showcases some great fundamental movement tricks with his first 3 kills. He strays between shots, jumps when stunned, and even crouches to control his classic spam. But let's focus on the last 2 kills, where TenZ is down to just 9 HP. This highlights the concept of high risk, high reward peaks beyond 15 meters. With only 9 HP, Tenz's best option is to keep fighting. If he strafed wide while standing, he'd become an easy target. That's why crouch peeking is so effective. Even at low HP, Tenz can disrupt his opponent's crosshairs, just like Artist did, and isolate 1v1s. The final scenario where crouching is beneficial is for crouch spraying. Think about all the weapons we commonly spray with in Valorant, like the Vandal, Phantom, Odin, and Ares. Crouching helps control your spray in situations where you don't have time to reset your recoil. Let's take a prime example from Nats, arguably one of the best Phantom players in the world. Nats anticipates an A rush, so he sets up the pre-round with an orb and molly on the A main box, ready to stop the push. He wants to isolate the 2 duelists who might dive ahead of the enemy team. Unfortunately, he's out of position and forced to commit to a fight. He crouches and sprays the 2 duelists who walk through his molly, securing 2 free kills since Raze is vulnerable and Yoru is too slow out of his teleport. The remaining 2 kills are easy pickings. If he hadn't crouch sprayed, the recoil would have been stronger and his bullets might have flown over his opponent's heads. Trying to reset his recoil between bursts wouldn't have worked either because there wouldn't be enough time to kill Yoru. Crouching here gave Nats an insane highlight play where he could have easily died otherwise. Now, let's dive into some drills to help you play like Nats and Tenz in your ranked games. Before we dive in, if you're silver or below, I recommend you actually skip this crouching routine for now. Instead, check out my 46-minute guide that covers every single Valorant mechanic. I also have a free mechanics guide in the description below. These guides will help you understand the basics you should master first. So, how do we use good crouching? Well, I call it intentional crouching. This means being purposeful in each crouching engagement. Good crouching is all about being deliberate, while bad crouching happens when you're unintentional during fights due to panic or ego. Now, let's start building intentional crouching habits with these drills. For gold to diamond players, whether you've used intentional crouching before or not, here's your first drill. In the range, go to the target with the bot on. Start at 10 meters using short bursts of 4 to 5 bullets from the Vandal or Phantom. Strafe between the target and the bot, getting comfortable with your bullet reset timing. After a few minutes, move on to crouching between bursts on one of the 2 targets. Actively choose which target to crouch with. The final and most challenging drill is spray transferring with your primary rifle. Start with one target, then crouch and transfer your spray to the other target for the next 5 bullets. Alternate positions to get used to transferring and crouching. I recommend doing this without infinite ammo on so that you can mimic a real spray transfer. If it's too hard, start at 5 meters. Now, this is for Ascendant 2, maybe even Radiant players. You should already be familiar with intentional crouching. If not, that's okay. We're here to build on your fundamentals. Start with the same drill as gold to diamond players as a warm-up. 10 meters, spray transferring, and intentional crouching. For a challenge, try 20 meters. Next, move to the drones in the sky. Activate them and position yourself in the doorway. Focus on crouch peeking with the Vandal or Phantom, using your crosshair placement. Alternate between regular peeks and crouch peeks. Finally, use a Marshal, Operator, or Outlaw to practice intentional crouch peeking with these weapons. It's ideal for agents like Jet or Chamber. With these routines, you should now have a clear roadmap to master your intentional crouching. And guys, I'm gonna be blunt. There aren't any quick fixes for bad crouching. So don't go unbinding your crouch key expecting it to magically stop you from tensing up and panicking. Instead, focus on understanding why you panic in those moments. Ask yourself, did I crouch in the right context or did I panic? Was my crosshair placement poor, causing me to crouch spray automatically? Or do I crouch peek every time I take a peek? These habits impact your crouching skill more than the act of crouching itself. Don't just think about your bad habits, but consider your good ones too. Why did I win this fight while crouching? Was this crouch peek a good peek? Did I intentionally choose to crouch here to win? Reflect on these questions as you work on mastering this simple yet nuanced mechanic. Alright, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.